Good evening, everybody. We got here another 1v1, this time between Jordan and the Viper. And this is on, obviously, a mega random map. So lots of water terrain, lots of different resources available, quite a few gold piles, not quite as much as a standard map, but scattered throughout the map we do have gold and stones, as well as lots of wood. So water control, or at least control of this amphibious terrain, is going to be very important for both players. So looking at the players, we do have in the blue playing as the Cumans, the Viper, and then his enemy to the southeast playing as the Incas is Jordan in the red. Now lots of food to begin with on this map, each player starting with 3 rhinoceros, as well as some water buffalo scattered around their starting islands. There are lots of water buffalo sitting out around, and their scouts are trying to pick up as much as possible while they do scout around a little bit and try and find the remaining food sources. Interested to see whether any docks get placed. Obviously fishing always helpful, but just water military will be a big impact later on in the game. Gonna just speed up a little bit as the two of them start to talk a little bit amongst one another. And obviously playing as the Incas, you do have that early age rush available to you. Your villagers in the feudal age are very good when it comes to tower rushes, when it comes to, you know, doing some villager attacks, whatnot. And Jordan being quite nice, sending a couple water buffalo back to the Viper. And both of these players just looking at a ranked game. They don't care quite as much. It's not like a tournament standing where they are desperately trying to win and will win at any cost. Both of these players obviously very well versed with one another, have been playing for well over 10 years against one another, and they have quite a bit of experience with one another. Interesting dock spot. There was that little bit of land there, so you are able to build there, and those couple of fishing ships will really make a difference in Jordan's uptime. And it's something that the Viper is not yet done, and I don't think he has it on the cards to do as of yet. But he will have scouted that. Oh, he just missed it. But he does see the villagers going forward for a lumber camp. And now he will possibly see... he will not see that fishing ship. It would be very good for him to know that there are 3 fishing ships out here, as that will make a big impact when they think of going up to the next age. And 2 docks already out for the Viper. He is going to look to be aggressive as soon as the feudal age hits. Second dock now going up for Jordan. And the Viper must know that there are going to be docks coming forward, as both players are going to be wanting to get some form of map control. And when the map is this much water, I mean, this is really Islands game if you could just walk across the water. This is virtually an Islands game at this point, and so I think both players are going to start playing it out like that. Getting a few easy hits on the fishing ship with the initial scout. The Viper is going to cause a little bit of damage, but this fishing ship can just go into the center of the lake, still collect up the fish, and now the scout will come back. And scout versus eagle typically goes towards the eagle, and especially with a galley out already, that will force back the scout, as 2 fire ships come forward now for the Viper. And the scout, because the scout did have that little bit extra with the next stage, the scout was able to beat out the eagle, and now the fire ships are taking out the first fishing ship. We'll see exactly what Jordan has in retaliation against the Viper. One negative about dealing with fire ships are unable to outrange over top of these wood lines, so that will come into play later on surely. once more galleys or war galleys come out. But as of now, those lumberjacks are very safe. And these galleys will be taken down with the superior numbers, but 1 or 2 fire ships will turn the tides of battle pretty quickly, as Jordan has not yet made that critical mass of galleys, and the Viper is outproducing him at this point in time. Viper is just slowly but surely gaining a lead, but villagers going down for the Viper as well, as galleys are fighting one another. Villagers are idle, which is never a good situation. 1 villager for Viper does go down from these galleys, and that is bad when it comes to growing up the economy. When you look at the villager difference, Jordan, 27 villagers. Did have to flee from the wood line to the north, and now he's in a bit of an awkward situation, as galleys are now able to range over top of the small palisade walls that he does have. So his villagers are vulnerable to the volleys of the galleys. But with his own galleys coming back for protection, he will have a lot of safety in the numbers that he has. Of course, still a big difference. Viper, is he not making villagers? I don't believe he's made a villager in quite a while. Not sure what his game plan is there. Not really seeing too much coming out of him, as he does have a watchtower to protect this wood line up front. I would have rathered to see, possibly a town center up front here to add that little bit of protection and increase the boom. Obviously, playing as the Cumans, that is one of the biggest advantages you have, is your economy. But both the players now, very interesting choices with slow economies. I do like this little wall off right now for Jordan. That does stop any loop arounds from the enemy, the Viper, surprising him anywhere he doesn't want to be surprised. But I don't like the move at all to not be producing villagers. Maybe there's something up the Viper's sleeve. Maybe there's something that he is thinking about that I am not thinking about. Obviously, I am not the snake. But over time, this massive villager lead will completely overrun the Viper. And now both players just skirting around with their military, both with 10 military in different locations. This watchtower, good location, able to deny any attacks, and the wall off is almost complete now for the Incan player. He does have safe woodline, safe gold, safe stone back here as well, with those walls going up. And now the galleys will be fighting against one another. Jordan looks like he's got a little bit of an advantage, but when it comes to micro, you never quite know, as he is going to be forced to retreat now. A few very weak galleys on the Viper's side, but able to outmass for right now. And Jordan forced to fall back, still just slightly behind when it comes to military. And maybe that's the call for the Viper. Put all resources into this feudal age military, nothing on food, and only focus on wood and gold. I don't personally like it, but maybe he's hoping for such a quick overrunning that Jordan doesn't notice how bad his economy is. The expectation, of course, is that villagers are being produced at all times. And right now, 18 to 38 for villagers. That is more than double. Obviously, a huge impact. And it is no longer a point where you think maybe the Viper has forgotten for a while. We are now at a point where we know the Viper is making this decision. And he is choosing not to collect any food, not to create new villagers. He wants to make sure that he can take out everything that Jordan has. And with this number of galleys, he's actually able to take out houses, and he will be able to engage very strongly against anything that Jordan has on the field currently. We will need to see another tower on this wood line fairly shortly here, as the house is down and the entire army of the Viper is in. House is going down left, right, and center. The Jordan, knowing the Viper is going to be cornered here, but still has the superior numbers. And what a game so far. Water map in which 18 villagers is outmassing 42 villagers. And that just goes to show all of these villagers that have been collecting food have not been collecting anything that is building up the military for Jordan. And Jordan does it. He calls the GG. The Viper, this is what makes him so fantastic. He knows that he doesn't care too much about this game. It's a ranked game. He's not someone who cares about the numbers quite as much as others. And he has stopped production at 18 villagers, 19 at first, and then he lost one. And his confidence, his ability to micro and use his military to his advantage allowed him to gain such an advantage that Jordan quits with almost 3 times the villagers that the Viper had. Look at that gold count. He was almost in a position where he could buy his way to Castle Age and win just by sheer force. Fantastic game. Good little trick from the Viper.